We have, by the way, reported a good set of numbers for the third quarter. Pre-sales continue to grow, but collections have declined sequentially. Pavitra Shankar is Managing Director at Brigade Enterprises. She's with us to take some questions. Look at the stock in the pre-open, 10% higher. But this is the first tick. We'll have to see where this goes from here. Pavitra, good morning again. Prashant this side. So, I mean, third quarter has been driven by success of new launches. Could you tell us what will lead to what's the growth trajectory looking from here? What is the expectation for this quarter, that is Jan to March, and then beyond that, FY26?
Hi, good morning. Yes, we had a really good quarter this year, and overall 9 months is done much better. For the rest of the financial year, we're just pushing through the new launches. The numbers that we'll be able to achieve are pretty heavily dependent on new launches. While we don't really give guidance, we should definitely do better than last year. But a lot of our launches are coming in over the course of this quarter. So we'll have to see how much time we have in the course of Q4 to actually achieve some of those numbers.
All right. Hi, Pavitra. Good morning. Always good to see you in. Give us a sense about the inventory that you have in your books as of now with regard to the residential space, point number one. And your collections dipped a little bit on a sequential basis. Could you tell us what's the cash flow situation?
So no real issues on the cash flow situation. There may be a slight mismatch in terms of just realizing some of the booking value and then some of the milestones being raised, but nothing really of concern. Collections overall have increased over the course of year over year. In terms of inventory, we have about 4.5 million square feet of inventory that we're selling today, and the demand on ground is still very strong. Bangalore and within our industry, where we have a heavy focus on Bangalore within our own organization, we still see about 12 months of inventory hangover. So it's still a very strong situation on ground.
12 months of inventory in Bangalore, Pavitra, that's what you're saying?
Yeah. Yes.
And that's largely in line with something that you'd want to work with. I mean, it's perfectly fine.
Actually, it's great. I mean, the normal is, 12 months is about 4 quarters, right? The normal equilibrium situation is anywhere from 8 to 10 quarters. So we're definitely in a great market in terms of how quickly inventory is still moving. So not a concern at all.
And in terms of those new launches, could you give us a sense what are you looking at, and just some idea?
Yeah, so we'll actually be looking to launch in both Bangalore and Chennai and Hyderabad. So the great thing is that we have inventory across all of our 3 focus markets, and I want to include Mysore as well. Most of the inventory is what I would call upper mid-segment and premium housing. This is a trend that we've seen across the markets and within our own portfolio as well. There's an opportunity to expand and do more of premium housing. Overall, pricing in our markets has increased within our own portfolio 40% year over year from a mix of moving more into the luxury and premium segment. So a lot of our launches coming up. We are looking to launch about 12 million square feet over the next 4 quarters, and hopefully launching another 3 to 4 million in the coming quarter itself, January, February, March.
Pavitra, no slowdown at all at the margin or anything, right? I mean, we've had companies, but not from Bangalore, from largely NCR, companies like Signature, Ashiana, Max. They've told us over the last 2 months that at the margin, the sales velocity has kind of gone down a little bit. But that's not also at the premium end, mostly in that sense. And, there've been talk that maybe with the stock markets being a little lower, there could be some impact, some implications. Because at the higher end, one assumes that, there will be, of course, a loan element, but a lot of it also will be funded by, capital gains from equities and things like that. Just your thoughts, Pavitra.
Yeah, so I would say, many times people peg their expectations based on what's happened over the last couple of years. And what we've seen is an incredible ramp up in terms of both sales velocity and absorption, as well as price increase. Now, if you're comparing to that, that's not going to continue growing at the same rates. But to put it in perspective, we are still able to launch. I would say Brigade, most of the portfolio, about 80% is still in the mid-segment, upper mid-segment. And I think that's kind of where you have to look at if you want to scale in terms of volume and velocity. Premium housing isn't going to fly off the shelves in the same way. I know there are conflicting reports that keep coming out, but the market for that naturally is smaller. So I think it's a balance of both. We are seeing strong demand, but it's not going to be, you're not going to sell predominantly all of your inventory in premium housing within a couple of months or anything like that. So we look at stabilizing the sales velocity for premium housing. We look at wanting to sell that inventory over the course of construction so that we can also, see the gains in pricing over that life cycle. And in mid-segment and upper mid-segment, it's still very strong in terms of the launch reaction from customers itself.
All right, Pavitra, we've gotten on enough about the real estate segment, and you're sounding very, very confident. So we take your word for that. Let's talk about the hospitality business. How are things shaping up there? If you could give us a couple of numbers. And I think you had a plan to unlock some value, right, with regard to listing that venture. What's the progress out there?
So yes, we actually did file a DRHP October 30th of last year. And because of that, we're under publicity restrictions. And I can't really talk about the portfolio in terms of numbers or give trends.
All right. But what about, when should we expect this to see the light of day? I mean, in terms of you file the papers, when do we expect the IPO?
We're hoping soon. We are yet to have some more clarity on that, but hopefully soon.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about then your rental income. The next time you join us, I'll push you a little bit more on that IPO because the street wants to know about that, Pavitra. For now, I'm letting you go. But what about the rental income? If you could help us out, the leasing portfolio that you have, I think it's clocking closer around 290, 300 crores or thereabouts. And I think the occupancy number for the last quarter was 95% plus. How do you see this number scaling up?
Yes, so our lease rental portfolio is a big contributor to the good results over the last quarter. The portfolio is fully stabilized, where, as you said, we're 99% leased, despite having a huge component of SEZ rentals as well. So it's stabilized, and that's kind of why we're seeing the cash flow increase quarter on quarter. And we do have about 8.7 million square feet of operating portfolio, and we are building out additional space as well. So as of now, the portfolio is just cash flowing, stabilized, and in a great space because it's fully occupied.
Okay, all right, Pavitra, we'll leave it on that note for this quarter. Thank you very much for joining in and giving us some perspective on the business. That is Brigade Enterprises.